Hi kids, we're back to Race Against Death. Can you hear it raining out here? It's raining out here. So we're going to do two stories because I missed one yesterday. So here we go. Fire and Ice is the first one. There it is, Fire and Ice. Some say the world will end in fire, the poet Robert Frost once wrote. Some say in ice. For 13-year-old Michael Bateman, early on the morning of January the 10th, 1982, it must have seemed that the world was ending both ways at once. Michael lived in the town of Phelps, Wisconsin. Northern Wisconsin is a cold, bleak land of lakes and iron mines, a region where the towns have names like Ironwood, White Pine, and Rock. In the winter months, there may be no colder place in the United States. It was 35 degrees below zero that morning, and the strong winds whipping across Lake Superior from the Arctic made it feel like 80 degrees below. Michael was at home sleeping. In another room lay his 2-year-old brother, Al, and in a basement room were his nieces, Christina, also 2, and Victoria, just 1 month old. They were all alone in the house. Just after midnight, the smell of smoke woke Michael. Fully awake, Michael ran to the telephone and tried to call the fire department, but the fire was already too strong. Driven back by the heat and smoke, he ran to his brother's room, picked up the sleeping child, and then, wearing only his underwear, he ran to his grandmother's house next door. Michael did not even pause to put on shoes while his grandmother phoned the fire department. Racing barefoot through the snow back to his house, he tried the front door. Flames lashed out at him. He ran around to the basement bedroom window, picked up a shovel, and smashed in the window. The girl's room was already on fire. Michael climbed quickly into the room, cutting his hands and his feet on broken glass. He lifted the girls out, one at a time, into the snow. He climbed out again and ran with the baby in one arm and the little girl in the other back to his grandmother's. Oh my goodness. There he is. Do you see him running? Look at that. That would be so scary. Well, Michael Bateman had to be treated in the hospital for cuts. Frostbite, that's where the frost has killed or hurt the fingers and the toes and stuff, for frostbite, and smoke inhalation. That means he breathed in smoke and it damaged his lungs. But he saved 3 lives, and he won the Wisconsin Governor's Youth Award and the Carnegie Medal of Heroism. Wow, what a brave young man. Well, here's the next one, and it's another one about fires. It's called Saved from the Flames. Rayford McGwirt was hauling a truckload of tomatoes from southern Florida to New York City one afternoon in 1976. Just outside Orlando, a car suddenly pulled onto the highway in front of him. The car was moving slowly. McGwirt's truck was traveling fast. Before the truck driver had time to brake, his rig had smashed into the rear of the car and sent it skidding out of control across the highway. The car burst into flames. Sliding sideways, the cab of the truck came close to dumping McGwirt onto the highway, but then it righted itself. However, the cab caught fire as it came to a stop. The car was a special one. It was designed for drivers who couldn't use their legs, and both the driver and his passenger were handicapped. 22-year-old William St. John had cerebral palsy, a brain condition that kept him from using his right side and walking properly. 20-year-old William Ellis Jr., the other person in the car, suffered from multiple sclerosis, a crippling nerve disease. So when their car slammed against the guardrail and the flames sprang up around them, St. John and Ellis couldn't move, couldn't crawl to safety. All they could do was scream for help. Along with 2 men who rushed to the car with fire extinguishers, there was a teenager, Ralph Cachet, his nickname was Cash, an 18-year-old maintenance foreman from Orlando. Together, the 3 of them battled the flames that had engulfed the car inside and out, but it was no use. The car was already burning too fiercely, and the screams of the 2 men inside told the rescuers they couldn't wait any longer. The men tried to open the door to the driver's side but were blocked by searing flames. They ran round to the other side. Cachet opened the passenger door, burning his hands on the metal handle, but the door opened only about a foot. The guardrail was in the way. One of the two young men in the car reached out through the fire. I reached out once to grab his hand, and my hand got burned, recalled Brian Belcher, one of the other rescuers. The car and all the grass around it was on fire. He reached out his hand again, pulling and pushing, suffering severe burns themselves. Cachet and the two other men edged Ellis and St. John out of the car and scattered them to the grass away from the flaming wreckage. Ellis and St. John were both badly burned. Both had inhaled flames and smoke as they sat trapped on the front seat. They lay in the hospital burn ward for many weeks before they recovered. But it was the fast, fearless action of Cachet, Belcher, and a man named Stephen Shellhorn that saved the two men from a fiery death. Oh my goodness. Can you see it there? There they are trying to get him out of the fire. Wow. Such heroic actions. Well, there's the two stories for today. That's it for this week. We'll pick up next week with a few more stories, and finally we'll be done with the book, Race Against Death. I hope you've enjoyed these. Till then, bye. I can't get it to stop.